Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Bella and I are out for a little bit of a Saturday morning adventure. We are flying solo this weekend in the valley, and there is a town, Rio Grande City, about an hour away, and I have been doing some reading about some of these battle cities, some of the historic sites here in South Texas. I know a lot of people think of South Texas and they think San Antonio. A little further south, 3.5, 4 hours further south, because Texas is a huge state, then you have these real truly Rio Grande Valley, South Texas communities. And one of the things I've been reading about were some of these historic sites. We're going to go take a look for them today. Probably not going to get out and do a whole lot of walking. It'll be easier with Bells if we do some drive-by. I did bring another camera in the event I do get out and do a little bit of walking. But I think also one of the sites that we're looking to try to find is an old historic hotel that is now apparently haunted. We'll get you some more information about that. It's my second cup of coffee this morning. Bella had woke me up at 4:30 this morning, telling me she needed to go outside and use the restroom. I'm pretty lucky. Bella, when we found her, she was really still a pretty small puppy, and from the from the get-go, very early on, we were still driving back and forth between here and San Antonio, and I brought her along for the ride, and she got used to riding in the car pretty quickly. She's really a pretty good rider. I guess I get pretty lucky with that. I know a lot of folks try to take their pups with them out on the drive and they get a little car sick. I'm really pretty lucky. She does pretty good. There's a blanket back there that hooks onto the headrests of the front two seats as well as the back two seats, and there's a little spot, like a little Velcro spot, where you can slip in like a harness that clips into her body harness, but then clips into the seatbelt hold. So that is what she gets clipped into when we go riding in the car. So she gets to be buckled in and safe too. Okay, errands done. Quick couple of things I needed to do. We recently purchased another truck, quite recently actually, and we have the truck that I drive now, and I love the truck. I had a Jeep Grand Cherokee before, but it was this truck that was the only thing that we had to pull our travel trailer with. And you know how in COVID they were having a hard time, and even now I guess still, because we're not completely out of COVID as I say this out loud. I had COVID 2 weeks ago, but they were having a hard time keeping, they being the car dealerships, were having a hard time keeping good used cars on the lot. They just, with the supply chain issues and things like that, they were having a really hard time with it. And twice during COVID, they actually called. The first time it was with in 2019, I got rid of my Jeep Grand Cherokee that had well over 100,000 miles on it, and that thing was really, really well loved and well driven. And I got a 2019 Jeep Compass. And during COVID, they called and said, hey, we're having a hard time. Would you be interested? And we'll buy back your Compass and make it worth your while. So then when they did that, I got the Jeep Grand Cherokee, almost the exact same color, just the same car, just bigger. And I loved my Jeep Grand Cherokee. I truly loved that car. And it was a little hard to get rid of it, but when they called back, we were actually driving back. I think it was Memorial Day weekend. We were driving back from we had taken the trailer to, I think, Rockport was that particular trip, and I had mentioned, hey, they called or sent me an email the other day that they're doing those buybacks again. So we talked about it, and then not that long after that, we went to the dealership and they made us a good deal. I was just gonna get a truck like Dottie's truck. So I was gonna say, well, I really do like Dottie's truck. If we have two trucks, then it's not just one truck taking the brunt of the RV travel trailer hauling, and that'll be a good thing. but they didn't have what I was looking for on the lot, and more to the point, like they weren't sure when they were going to get them in, and it was, you know, there would happen to be a sale, like they had, you know, like a special going on at that time when we finally went in. So I was like, well, they don't have what I'm looking for. You know, they have extended cab, but I wanted a crew cab, like the one, like this one. And I ended up saying, well, you know, I'm good. I love my Jeep Grand Cherokee. I would really like for us to have another truck to tow the travel trailer with. So, you know, at the time, like, Dottie, your truck isn't the only vehicle kind of taking that abuse. And the sales guy was like, are you kidding? Like, we're gonna make, and I'm like, but you don't have what I want. And I was ready to just kind of like be like, no, I'm good, thanks, but you know, I'm good. But I looked at Dottie and I'm like, unless they have something that you absolutely love, like I'm good. Well, she ended up finding a maroon Dodge 1500 classic, like it's just this really classic looking, and she loved it. And so I said, well, this only works as if you want to drive that vehicle and then I take yours, because it was less than a year old at the time. Her truck was less than a year old, and so that ended up working out really well. So now we have two trucks that can tow the RV travel trailer. But in all of that, the loan that we got was through Navy Army, and they gave us a really good rate, and everything worked out well. Like, we were very fortunate. The one thing I don't like the Navy Army website, and I don't like the app. They don't make it, if Navy Army's not your bank, your predominant bank, they don't really make it easy for you to pay your payment. And we've been messing around with it, I mean, for a couple of months, a few days, you know, for over a couple of months. Like when we were like, oh, hey, the calendar is set, the truck needs to be paid by X date. So a few days before that, like a week before that, we're in the app, we're in the online website trying to figure out the best way to port this money over. But they don't exactly make it easy to do that. It's not a seamless process, and I hope maybe I'm just missing something. I don't know, but it's we were both looking at it and we're like, they kind of don't make it easy for people to give them money. So that's like the one downfall. But that was my errand this morning, is that truck payments due next week sometime, mid next week, and I was like, well, let me just go. I have to go get money from our actual bank, and like they could automatically take it if I go into the Navy Army, but then they upcharge you like $40. I'm like, no, like we're not gonna do that. But anyway, so if I just go get the money, just pulse it out of the ATM, go to the Navy Army and make the payment, then it's obviously paid on time because it's due next week, and I'm not getting charged this extra $40. And we've tried to buy ourselves another month of figuring out this website / app to make payments, we have the banks connected, but it just won't take the money from our main bank to the other. But anyway, errands are run. We are on our way now to Rio Grande City, just to do just a little bit of a drive, maybe a little bit of a walk around. Definitely want to try to locate that haunted hotel, as well as a few other stops. So again, thanks for coming along for the ride, and we'll update you as we get a little closer. Looks like there's a school bus depot here on my left-hand side. You guys might not be able to see it in the camera. I'll have to double check, but I think that's actually for La Jolla ISD. So not sure, maybe La Jolla, the town, is to my left or back east on this road here. But I'm getting ready to turn on to US 83 West. We're going to continue on towards Rio Grande City. If I were to turn left here, US 83, that'll take me right back into like the South McAllen area. And I couldn't help but notice so many of these ranch properties out here. I recently just purchased a drone, and I'm currently just reviewing for that drone license pilot's test. I can take it, I think at McAllen International Airport, they have a location there. I can take the test. It's like $150 to take the test, and silly me, I thought it was going to be like my motorcycle's license that I had to actually take, you know, quote unquote driver's test to prove I wasn't going to crash this thing. Apparently that's not the case with drones. I'm just taking a written test. But when I looked up what some of that content was, I thought, oh, that's kind of cool, but $150 a pop, I want to make sure I do a little bit of studying, so I only have to do it once, I hope. But as I was driving by a lot of these ranch properties, that was one of the goals with the drone. Obviously get some cool shots for the videos, but, you know, rent out my services if, you know, real estate companies want the footage or people want footage of their property, you know, just something extra that I might be able to do. It's kind of fun, right? You know, get an address, go out to ranch land and send the drone up, get some cool footage, and maybe get paid for it. So I just passed a little plaza that said Border Town Ace and Border Town Market. We are in Sullivan City. I will look up and see if I can remember to put how many miles that is to the US-Mexico border. So if I were to turn left right here, like, and if this road were to go all the way to the border, like we're a stone's throw away. Maybe not a stone, but you know, we're not that far away. But I'll look up the actual mileage for how far away we are from the border and try to remember to put that in the video at this point here. But Sullivan City, Texas, we're about 17 miles from Rio Grande City. Okay, so we are technically have just pulled into Rio Grande City, like the city limits. I have the directions taking me to downtown, wherever like the directions would take me to downtown, because there are about 4 different building sites I want to try to Google and find once we get there. But people might ask, why Rio Grande City? You know, it was an area that, if I'm remembering correctly from my reading, was first populated in the 1840s, like 1845, 1846, something like that. But, you know, it served as a transfer point for getting supplies to soldier during the invasion of Mexico, the Mexican-American War. For those of you who remember your history, I think that was from 1846 to 1848. I think I had to double check. I knew it was 1800s, but I didn't remember the exact dates. But I feel like that's what I read recently. But anyway, so there was, you know, this war followed, you know, the annexation of Texas, which Mexico considered a Mexican territory. You know, so with that in mind, you can imagine there's some history here. There are some historical markers, and there are going to be some historical buildings. You know, some of the historic district in downtown Rio Grande City, from what I've read, is falling apart, you know, today in modern day. But I want to try to search for a few of these landmarkers. I believe the sign when I came in, I believe it's around 4,400 people or so. Try to double check that as I do some, you know, checking of facts and editing and things like that. But we'll catch back in once I get to the downtown location. They don't just have an HEB, they have an HEB Plus. I think maybe those who live in Texas might understand that that's a nice perk to have a plus, an HEB Plus nearby. Oh, looks like there is something going on up here to the left. I cannot read that sign from here. We'll see what's going on here in a second. Oh, it looks like maybe are they turning? So I'm not even going to be able to read that sign. Wondering from here it looks like a lot of kiddos, so I'm wondering if that's a school march of some sort, like, you know, for athletics or something like that. Not totally sure. If you guys hear that thing rattling around, there's a golf ball on the passenger side of the truck in the little storage compartment. I probably need to get rid of that. Now that I've said it out loud, it's actually kind of driving me nuts. Looks like a little parade. Like there's some stuff going on with a little parade. We got the Rio Grande City police out here directing traffic for the kiddos. Looks like now there's a marching band coming up. Marching band from Rio Grande City High School. It looks like their cheer squad. So it looks like they've got a game coming up and they are out in full support to support their team. So that's kind of nice. I dig that. Smaller city, smaller town, Texas, and they are out supporting their team. Because if you happen to be viewing this and you're not from Texas, football's a way of life here. And from every corner of the state, football is a way of life, and I'm glad that the athletes get the support from the school, right? That's kind of nice. We should be ready to pull into here somewhere. I'm going to find a place to park, just kind of temporarily, and then I'm going to start to look for my stops. Essentially, the 3 or 4 places I wanted to go, because this is basically downtown Rio Grande City right here. So I think if I just pull in somewhere, I'll be able to Google where I want to go next. So what we're gonna do here is gonna throw on my flasher and we're gonna pull in right here. And this building off to the side of me, gosh, it's so cool looking. I'm gonna try to get some video of that. So you hear the sirens from the next street over for the event they're having. I'm gonna do a little bit of Googling and figure out what this used to be, because gosh, in its heyday, I bet this was really kind of immaculate and nice. All right, we're gonna try to get out here into traffic. Fort Ringgold, Fort Ringgold, otherwise known, they were barracks, I believe, and they were established at Davis Landing in October of 1848, I believe, if I remember reading correctly. You know what? I'm going to take an alternative route because it seems that parade is really kind of doing some stuff to traffic. So I'm going to go up a little bit further to turn left to get back around to where it is that I need to go. But anyway, so Fort Ringgold, I think it was Major Ringgold is who it is named after, and he was mortally wounded in a battle, so the barracks were named after him. So that is where we are headed first. Lots of one-ways here in the downtown location. This one right here is not, so we're gonna turn left here. You know what? I'm gonna see if another one by chance does not get into some of this traffic. So hang tight. Bella's obviously getting really excited. You can probably hear her. I was doing some Googling just, oh, we're gonna let this UPS, Postal Service driver go, but I was doing some Googling. I think that our best bet is to just try to squeak in here with some traffic. I think this gentleman's gonna let us in. Let's give him our thank you wave. We are polite here, at least we try to be in Texas. Make sure he sees us. I was looking for an old historic theater, and I think it's gonna be up here on the right-hand side. We may not be able to get a great shot of it because of the parade traffic, but we'll at least get to drive by it. I'm a little bit of a sucker for old historic theaters. I love the outside architecture. I love the look of them. I love thinking about what they might have been. you know, in the day when they were most popular. But that's at least on this route on the way to Fort Ringgold. And I need to, I believe also in the same general direction is Laborde House. That is the hotel that is now apparently haunted. So those are the top two I wanted to see. And then I wanted to see if I could see this theater. And then there was one called Geta House. And I couldn't find that one, like an actual address for that one. So I might not get to see that. But that's okay, because I'm gonna get to drive by this old theater. And I don't know why, I really appreciate the old theater look. But even here, this building to my left, this, you know, insurance company, old brick wood, you know, like it's so South Texas historic looking. It's probably not even a historic building, but it just, there's something about this old brick, and now like they've modernized it a little bit with some of these wooden archways. It's a very distinct South Texas look that I can't help but really appreciate. I mean, but you know, seriously, how often can you say you drove through Rio Grande City, Texas, if you're not from here? So it's just fun, right? It's a part of the country you've probably never seen. I've only seen this like maybe the one time. So you can barely make out the letters on that old historic theater, but it used to be called the Garmin Theater. Now it looks like it's LFD Home Furnishings. At least they're using it for something, right? At least the building is getting used, which is cool to repurpose it for something different. I think it's going to be a similar situation with Laborde House, the hotel that is still up and running. It's on Main Street, so it's on this street. And I think I'm going to have the difficult challenge within this parade traffic to try to get over into the right-hand lane, but the haunted hotel is on Main Street, so it's going to be on this road. But with the traffic, we're probably not going to try to get out and see anything. So we'll just continue to creep on forward and do the best we can. I really love the old brick. I know it's probably seen better days, but there's something really, you know, I don't know if it feels important to me about it. It feels historic. It feels timely. I just love the old brick on some of these buildings I'm seeing on the left-hand side. So we've got a bar with live bands and a patio here to my left. The Rio Grande City Municipal Court office to my right. We're still in this downtown traffic, but we are gonna try to get through these lights, and then we do have to turn right in about 4/10 of a mile. So I think my GoPro battery is starting to drain just a little bit, but I can do this because I'm slow enough in traffic. I don't know if you guys can see the sign right up here. It says Stark County Industrial Foundation, Laborde House, with another restaurant and a wine and tapa bar. So this is the area here where that hotel is at. So this is, I think, parking for some of these locations, but we might have to try staying at Laborde House, that haunted environment. I'm actually starting to wonder if I'm even going to be able to get into the historic site because of this traffic that's going on with the parade and the game day activity. I might not get to turn into that. I think that they had some other stuff blocked up here on the right that I noticed on my way into town. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to get in. Okay, wicked sad here, but this is my turn in order to get back into the historic site with all this game day traffic. I don't know about that. I'm kind of sad because that's where I need to. It's Fort Ringgold right there on my right hand side is where everyone is going. Well, that was super unfortunate. You know, this is what happens when we don't necessarily Google where we are going in relationship to or in relation to what's going on in the community that day. It's okay. I got to drive by that one historic building. I still need to double check and figure out what that was as best I can. I got to drive by Laborde House, which I know where that's at now, and I'll try to include the website in the description. But modern day, you can get a hotel room there and see if you have any experience with ghosts or things like that. It sounds terrifying to me, but I know some people might like it. I would like to walk through it though. Not stay there probably, but maybe walk through it. Anyway, so I'm a little bummed I didn't get to go to Fort Ringgold, but I did get to give you a little bit of that history. I'll try to insert a photo or a website link with some more information about that, since I didn't actually get to, because that would have been where I could like get out and walk around a little bit, but it was not meant to be today. That's okay. But anyways, thanks for riding with me today, and until next time, be sure to live life outside of the work that you do.